new office, and there are more birds up here than I'm used to in a work setting. There's cars driving by. Being up on the second floor, there's the feeling of being in the trees, in this beautiful like window into the birds' lives that they don't know I'm watching when they show up, and they eat the berries or they coordinate with each other. There's something kind of special about being up more at their level on the second floor. It feels so quiet here. Just feeling like a reminder of sometimes there's nothing to say. And that's not what wants to be talked about. But in this moment, it's coming up. Along with some specifics don't need to be shared, but some response to a recent comment about the silence conveyed here. And right now the response to that is even more silence, because some of those words were hurtful on a personal level to the person here who has a disability, has cognitive impacts of that at times, has a history of experience of shame around that, being shamed by others, being shamed by society, internalizing shame, shaming self. So it's seen that there's a personal element to what's coming up here, and that's unavoidable. And then there's the transpersonal of just what's bigger than me in the silence that's being conveyed. what's bigger than me and the response of people who have a response to silence. This isn't a performance. The performance for me is small talk or going into the intellect or spouting off some memorized information in a moment where there's an expectation that that's going to come up. I'm not saying that it's always a performance to talk and to make sound and be loud. I'm doing it right now. But often the sounding is performative, it's disingenuous, it's not authentic, and even consciously, if that makes sense, that I can put it on and off at this point of just I don't always talk like this about awakening. 95% of the time, well, I can't quantify because my husband is who's largely my home life. There's profound awakening and openness and deepening into this together. So we live a very unconventional life. I think maybe all, if not many, individuals who go through this process of shedding, loosening, the process of solid identification attempts, freeing up the authenticity, freeing up the aliveness that's already free, but realizing it's free, not fighting it as much, realizing when we fight it, we suffer more. That process creates more diversity in what we really are. We are diverse and the same, but we are very diverse. So being authentic, being awakening, it can seem very odd. And to live in a life, a modern life, contemporary life, in any age that we live in, out of necessity, we need to conform at times. If I'm gonna keep a job, and I'm a nurse practitioner, and I take insurance, I'm not gonna sit around staring in silence in that moment. And in my work as well. Most of my work, at least right now, is not directly talking about this. There's a movement to see if that will grow, if there will be more work for me working directly with the awakening, because right now it's rather indirect, and that doesn't really matter, but there's a curiosity about working with it more directly. And I would say it is profession for me, holding space, counseling, therapeutic support, mental health support, psychology. That is absolutely healing for the right people at the right time in the right way. And here, for me, it's inseparable from awakening. Like, psychology is about the ego. It is about identity. It is about separation. So, the talking about it in this way, in the way that non-duality is not a belief system to me. It's not a religion. It's not psychology. It's not a thing. To be articulating and pointing, it's not going to happen conventionally. It's going to happen if it's alive, spontaneously, in whatever form it wants to take. It feels like art, the pointing. And the living this roller coaster of just this in this moment, having no sense of what the next moment will be. And when I say that, it's not that I'm brain dead or something. It's the kind of free falling that is constantly happening of like, okay, there can be a sense, there can be a prediction, there can be, if you ask me what I'm going to do tomorrow, there can be a hypothesis, but the no sense is, I don't know. I don't trust that what I think is going to happen tomorrow is going to happen. And there is a trust that the more attachment to anything particular happening, the more resistance and suffering to just this and the I want to share something. So, this is in my office desk. I finally have a place to put it that's my own. This is our new office, our new clinic. It's ours. Which feels right. And this is my brother's art. He's an amazing artist. He's an amazing person. And I asked him to create something for me when these videos were starting that I could use. And I asked him for art depicting a brain cell, because this much of the catalyst and the partner in this journey for me in realization is my MS and my brain and my spine and these neurological structures. And so he created this. And it's on my site. It's the only images that I've used, and probably, well, who knows, but he doesn't know anything about any of the, I don't talk to him about this. He knows about my health. He knows how deeply it's shaped my life to some degree. I don't talk to him about this, and that's not a sign that I'm not close with him, that I don't love him, and that I don't think he would resonate or understand, but sharing that because it feels alive to say that talking about this isn't something that happens with everyone, or most everyone. Coming upon this like realization is I don't want to say rare, because that implies like special and important, and this is so normal and ordinary. But it's not what you think it is. And it's so hard to share. And it will never be shared, probably. At least, I would be surprised. There would be a lot of changes to happen in this world to authentically, really radically be sharing it more widely right now. Even though the awareness of it and the normalization of it is definitely growing, and that's such a beautiful thing, and gratitude here in that process for many reasons. But this is so experiential. Like this, all this is experiential. And talking around it, talking about it, teaching about it, mentoring about it, counseling about it, whatever you want to use. Is supporting you and your experience of just this. And softening the resistance to it, unwinding the beliefs about anything other than it, this, now, right now, which is not the same as when I started this video. It's not the same for you as when I recorded this video. It's not the same for me as when I pressed play a few minutes ago. Doesn't matter whether I talk about it with anyone I know or whether they will ever understand this undoing, because it's about so strange. It's about such a personal thing to unfold into the impersonal. And we can be so connected to external relationships and people, and they unconsciously, on some level, may never, no, I would say unconsciously they will always understand this, but consciously, with their minds, with their beliefs, they may never get it. It may always seem scary and crazy. And even if you're not on a spiritual awakening path and you're in a path of reckoning in your life that feels like it's shattering who you thought you were, which, by the way, that's what I'm talking about. That is your process to reckon with, and you may never be able to talk conventionally about it with anyone, and that's not a bad thing. That's actually a sign that you're getting beneath the stories and into what's true, what's here,